So to illustrate the concept of, the unfairness that goes on in life, right? I think the whole character of Karna in the Mahabharata is a classic example. Okay. To understand the victim mindset that we would all have as human beings, the character of Karna is the best example. Okay. As a child growing up, when I was reading the Mahabharata, one of the first characters that you will always like is Karna. Okay, because you will almost always um, connect to him very quickly. You'll see and develop a sort of sympathy for him. All right, you'll feel empathetic towards him and whatever he goes through. But as I, looked at the Mahabharata at a later stage, after my 25 years and so on, in the time when I could really make sense of all of these things, I found that Karna is one of the most nasty characters that is there. Of course, he's also shown like that. He's one of the Chatur Dushtas in the Mahabharata, which is among the four nasty characters. He's one among them. But as a young child, you don't process all those things, You just read the epic for what it is, like the fun of it, the war, and the fighting and the miracles that Lord Sri Krishna puts in the epic and so on. All these things are the ones that we will pay attention to. And many Westerners, they love Karna a lot. They will fall in love with Karna a lot. But again, if you deeply analyze that, you will see that he is actually one of the nasty characters. And he's actually the son of the sun, the Graha sun. Okay, he's born to the Supreme Consciousness Sun himself. But instead of turning out to be the most noble of the people in the Mahabharata, he turns out to be the dark version of the sun. He plays the opposite character of the sun. All the nasty qualities of the afflicted sun he will project in the Mahabharata. Okay. So I want to give this example. All right. And this will illustrate how life is fair or not fair and such. Okay. And those kind of things here. So life, of course, it's not a fair. Okay, it's unfair. It is unjust. We know all of that, right? It's very simple. If you look at astrology, how many Soumya grahas did you count? Three of them, right? Mainly, and even if you count a waxing moon, four. But there are five other grahas that are malefic. Okay, life is unfair. There is always more nasty things happening to you than good things. Okay, so nobody is spared of that. That is the grand reality of things. That is the fairness, at least, to it. Everyone has to go through that, no matter if he's a king or a pauper. It is the same thing that all of us have to face. Okay, just like Saturn. Saturn's rules are same. Saturn gives 24 hours in a day for every one of us. Death is same for every one of us. The king and the pauper, after they die, they go back into the box. Right, in the game of chess, if you see king and the soldier, it's the same. After the game ends, they have to go back to the same box. So there is always fairness in that context. Okay, so this is very true for even God incarnates. Okay, like Lord Krishna and Lord Rama in the Ramayana and Mahabharata, you'll see those epics. Vishnu's incarnations, they are also not spared of any of these difficulties on earth. They literally suffer more than any character in those epics. Okay, and very clearly illustrated, very fairly written epics. Okay, there is no partiality because they are gods or anything like that. It's very well captured in the ancient Vedic texts. All right. As I mentioned, I always keep the witness of Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Bhagavad Gita as pramana for me, as that is the witness for me to describe anything. I find all my answers there. So I will give you this example of how Karna plays out in comparison to Lord Krishna. Normally, we are not meant to compare both of them. They are polar opposites of each other. One is God Himself, who is doing the most noblest things. The other is the absolute garbage version of anyone that is possible, that is Karna, right? And doing all the nasty things possible in the epic. So you cannot compare them, but you'll see a very strong contrast in their personalities. But a lot of similarities. When you put a Venn diagram, there are a lot of commonalities that will come between Krishna and Karna, and it is revealing for us. Okay, if you pay attention to that, you'll see how to get out of the victim mindset. It's very useful. I found this passage and this comparison in general to help people think of getting out of the victim mindset and blame and pointing fingers at others. Okay, it's very important to remember this. All right. So this one is for people who complain a lot, again, who have wasted their life blaming others, playing the victim card, all right, and people who are always seeking sympathy and getting attention in the wrong ways, okay? Like, I'm also a human being, I have emotions, all right, I have feelings. Why are you doing all these things to me? This is not the question they would ask you or me. They would ask God, okay? And they will treat God as if he's a psychopath. All right, God has done something nasty to them. That's how they would treat God. Okay, and they would ask, like, do you think I'm a toy? You're playing with my life, you're playing my life like a puppet. Einstein himself asked, God doesn't play dice with people. Okay, he clearly explains that in one of the books, and one of the statements, very famous statements in science that Einstein gave. Okay, so any case, for these kind of people, and even including me, I would have gone through this in my own life, right? We always love to play the victim, every one of us. Okay, oh, I someone did this to me, I'm here like this for this reason. Okay, including me, we have to always remember this contrast example of Krishna and Karna. Okay, so it's a constant reminder for us, okay, that do not fall prey to the Karna kind of mindset. Act like Krishna is what I'm trying to tell you in the message here. Okay, it is a very important episode. Like I will explain here at the very end, when Krishna and Karna are facing off and in a discussion, and at that stage Arjuna is to kill Karna. All right, that is already destined, of course, but it will happen. Okay, and Karna as a character is having a lot of connection to the Narasimha avatar of Mars in astrology. Okay, at the very end of Narasimha avatar, there is a very important event that happens between Nara and Simha. Okay, so two rishis will be born. They are Nara and Narayana. Okay, and they are connected to Karna in a very intricate manner. I will not describe the details of it. It's very nice story. You can read about it if you like. But Karna's prarabdha in this life, Karna's karma with Arjuna and Krishna is based on past life. That is what I'm trying to tell. And that past life is connected to the avatar of Narasimha, which is the Mars avatar. Okay. And in this avatar, we are talking about Moon's avatar, which is the avatar of Lord Krishna. Okay. So Krishna and Karna are discussing before the actual death happens for Karna. Karna is asking for justice. Everyone loves justice, right? Everyone wants to know the answers. Oh, why this is happening? Please give me justice. He's asking for justice, right? He's asking Krishna, he says, my mother left me at the moment I was born. Karna is telling this to Krishna. It is my fault I was born as an illegitimate child, because Kunti actually abandons Karna. Kunti leaves him in the river and he is lost because Kunti conceives Karna at a very young age when it is not meant to. She tries some experiments with the sun, and Karna is born as a grace of the sun, but she cannot show that to the world, so she abandons Karna. Okay, so he goes on to say, Karna says, I did not get any education from Dronacharya because I was considered a non-Kshatriya. Dronacharya was the teacher of all the Pandavas and Kauravas. He was the Acharya, means he's a teacher of all the arts and crafts of those times for them. Parashuram, which is the incarnation of Shukra, which is Venus, another avatar of Lord Vishnu. Okay, he is also part of this epic, and he taught Karna, but then he gave Karna a curse because Karna lied to Parshurama. Okay, Karna lies and cheats his own guru, so he gives him a curse that all the skills and vidya, the knowledge that I've transmitted to you, you cannot use it when it is in the most need for you. Okay, especially like in the battlefield, when it is a life and death kind of situation, you will forget the skills that I taught you because you cheated me. Okay, so then a cow was accidentally hit by Karna's arrow once, and its owner, actually the owner of the cow, cursed him for no fault of his. It was accident, but he got a curse. Then Karna was also disgraced in Draupadi's Swayamvar. Draupadi's Swayamvar was like today's modern day and age. I think The Bachelor or some TV series is going on, right? Where many girls get to choose a guy or a guy gets to choose girls. That kind of a show of those days and age where it's a showdown for marrying Draupadi, who is the most beautiful woman on earth at that time. So she is a princess, of course, and many people are competing to marry her. Draupadi actually insults Karna there because she thinks that he is born of low birth. Even nobody knows that Karna is actually born to the sun and Kunti because it's not revealed. So she insults him, and he's actually trained or he grows up in the family of a charioteer. Okay. So Draupadi insults, saying that you're not eligible to marry me. So get out of here. Okay. Draupadi is the wife of the Pandavas. The antagonist is Karna here, and the protagonist is the Pandavas. Okay. Even Kunti finally told me the truth only to save her two sons, which is actually in the end, Kunti comes and she does one of the nastiest things possible. And she plays a very emotional blackmailing card in the Mahabharata epic, where she goes and tells Karna at the very important time when the battle would have twisted and turned into the favor of the Kauravas that you are my son and you are fighting on the enemy side. Please do not kill any of your brothers because Karna is also the eldest brother of the Pandavas. Okay. So Kunti basically she does the emotional blackmail and it's a very nasty thing to pull off, but she does that. And even in the end, the truth only was revealed to him one day before the main battle that he was going to face. Okay. So then finally he just, sympathizes now with Duryodhana. Duryodhana is the main leader of the antagonist. He's the villain in the epic, okay? He's the villain among villains. That is the kind of nasty things that Duryodhana does. So Karna receives a lot of help from Duryodhana and in the form of charity. And, Duryodhana's logic is if you are an enemy to my enemy, you are my friend. That is his logic. So he keeps Karna not because he is in love with Karna, he keeps Karna with him because he knows he can use Karna one day to kill the Pandavas, especially Arjuna for this matter, because Karna and Arjuna, they were archers in the epic. Okay, they were strongly equal to each other. So going head to head meant whoever wins the archery battle would win the war. That was how critical that was. So Duryodhana's trump card was Karna in the old epic of fighting between the Pandavas and Kauravas. So Karna does not know that. He is taking to the sympathy of Duryodhana, thinking that everyone forsaken me, abandoned me, but still I have to take the side of this person because he trusts me and he believes in me. Okay. So let's see. So now he is asking Krishna. Karna is asking that how am I wrong in taking Duryodhana's side? So he has made all the wrong things now. He has taken the side of the villains in the epic, and Krishna is to establish dharma, which means he is going to kill and make sure everyone is dead on the villain side. He's asking, see, I did everything right from my point of view. I had only so much of room to play in this life, and whatever came to me, I took the best possible advantage and I sided with them because I was a victim of the circumstance. Only nasty things happened to me. I've been a victim of the circumstance, and now somebody is showing sympathy to me. Is it wrong in taking their side? Okay. Please try to understand this question many times, and it's very important you really get the idea of this question. It's such a delicate question that he's asking. It's a fair question from his point of view, but now how Krishna replies, that will be mind boggling. Okay. So that is why I call Krishna the Jagat Guru. All right. He's that capable of really assimilating and discerning the truth from the untruth. Okay, this is very important. This is Viveka. All right, see, all incarnations of Vishnu are all incarnations of Mercury. Okay, and Krishna particularly is the incarnation of the moon, like I said, but he is very strong mercurial in his approach. He's very intellectual in whatever he does, and he clearly assimilates the wrong from the right. Okay, perfectly balanced Jupiter Mercury axis is what Sri Krishna would look like. Okay, so for that matter, if you see um, what he tells, right, and how he goes on to really strip every argument that Karna makes, okay, and how he tells that you have wronged, you have done adharma, and you deserve to die one step at a time, like a lawyer explaining, like with clauses, okay, what you have done, this, and that is why you deserve to be punished. That's basically how Sri Krishna will go on to explain that. And that's what it is with respect to Mercury. Why this is very important? Because you really have to use this technique for yourself, as well as when someone tells you something, you have to see what they're telling you, why they're telling you. Is it true? Is it not true? Okay. And this way of understanding, right, getting to the root cause of the problem and really being able to discern the truth, okay, from the untruth is the whole point of spirituality, whole point of, healing problems and getting ahead in life. That's the main thing, okay. So there are many ways, even modern psychology implements this, but it is a very old technique in ancient sciences, okay. But Krishna's reply is fantastic, okay. Let me read that. So Krishna replies, Karna, I was born in a jail. Okay. Death was waiting for me even before my birth. In the form of his own uncle, he wanted to kill him. Okay. Which was Kamsa. The night I was born, I was separated from my birth parents, just like Karna. Karna was also separated from his parents. Krishna was also separated from his parents. Okay. From childhood, you grew up hearing noise of swords, chariots, horses, bows, and arrows. Okay. Karna still, he was in the kingdom, right? He was a charioteer's son, and he was raised as a charioteer's son, and he still had an experience of a Kshatriya. All these people are Kshatriyas, okay? And Krishna is a Kshatriya himself. And he goes on to say, Krishna only got cow herds shed, dung, and multiple attempts on his own life, even before he could walk. As a small kid, as a small baby child, 1 to 2 years, 3 year baby child, many people tried to kill him because there was a curse on Krishna's uncle called Kamsa that the eighth child of Devaki and Vasudeva by Krishna. There was a certain clause that was placed on the birth of Krishna that once Krishna is born, he would die, Kamsa would die. So, knowing that, Kamsa wanted to get rid of the perpetuator who would kill him, right? Who would attack him and kill him. That was Krishna. So he keeps on attacking even a small baby with no, sympathy or empathy, all right? So Krishna did not have any army, no education at all, right? he could hear people saying that he was the reason for all of their problems because he constantly invited problems into Dwaraka and the places that he lived, right? When all of these people, which is the Pandavas, the Kauravas, and Karna, were being appreciated for their valor by their teachers, Krishna only received no education. Okay, he says. Then finally, Krishna has a breakthrough. He joins the Gurukula, which is the learning ashram of Rishi Sandipani at the age of 16, at the Jupiter maturation age for him. All right. So Krishna, he says to Karna, you were married to a girl of your choice. Karna really marries who he loves, but Krishna doesn't even get to marry the girl he loved. Rather, he ended up marrying those who wanted him or the ones he rescued from the demons. Okay, it was a sort of a compromise that he made, that he gave up on his own love for the sake of the humanity. Okay, then finally his community was threatened and he had to move his whole community from the banks of Yamuna, which is a river in India, to a far off seashore, all right, to save them from Jarasandha. Jarasandha was an arch enemy of Krishna. Krishna also does not go head to head with Jarasandha. All right. In fact, in the end, only with the help of Bhima, who is his friend, he was able to beat Jarasandha. Okay. Krishna was called a coward for running away because he had to relocate and help his community to save them. He ran away from Jarasandha and he was called a coward. A god is called a coward. Can you imagine? Okay, a god's life is being threatened as a baby and he has no powers to save himself. Okay, he was born in a jail, first of all, Krishna, and he's surrounded by cow dung, no food to eat properly, and later on faces no education until 16 years. Okay, you can imagine today's modern day and age, if someone has no education until 16, you can be sure they are going to go and ruin their later part of life. They will not have a proper way of life in general, okay, because of wrong way of thinking, wrong way of knowledge, etc. Right? So Krishna, he did not do any of that. Okay. So finally he says, even though people called him a coward, and he goes on to say that if Duryodhana, the antagonist on the other side of the Kauravas, if he wins the war, there will be a lot of credit to Karna because Karna is the archer, like I said. He's the trump card that would beat Arjuna and win the war, right? So Duryodhana will give a lot of credit to Karna. But what do you think will happen to Krishna? He says if Yudhishthira, who is the protagonist on the Pandava side, if he wins the war, all the blame will go on Arjuna and Krishna because they have been causing problems and chaos in the name of war. Okay, and especially Krishna because he was the one who forced Arjuna to engage in the battle when he gave up. Okay, so he goes on to tell Karna in the end that remember one thing, that everybody has challenges in life. Okay, all of us, we are facing our own battles every day, day in and day out. Like I said, we have our own patterns, we have our own battles, we have our own weaknesses, the eighth house, Saturn, Rahu, Ketu, the Dustana houses in placement. We have to face that. Okay, there is no escaping that. All right. Life is not fair to anybody. This is a statement I really want you to register. Take a moment. If you like, I will repeat that. Life is not fair to anybody, including God incarnate. Okay. In the future, I will discuss the life of Lord Rama. It will be even worse than this. Okay. But if you see Krishna itself, you get a feeling for it, I think. All right. So Duryodhana also has a lot of unfairness in his life, and so has Yudhishthira. Okay, both of them, Duryodhana and Yudhishthira, are the kings going head to head in the battle. Both of them have unfairness. Okay, but what is right is dharma is right, and it is known to your mind in your conscience. You know the right thing always that is there. Okay, The way this life is built, the way this organism exists in this planet, us, right? The moment you do something wrong, even the worst of the people, they will know that they have wronged. Okay. Even for instance, a small thing like, let's take someone stealing something, a thief, or someone trying to murder another person. Somewhere internally, deeply within them, okay, there will be a conscience that will tell them, no, this is not the right thing to do. Don't do this. This is not the right thing to do. Don't hurt someone. Don't do these things. Yet, they will consciously override that thought. They will consciously override that feelings, and they will do what they want to do. Okay, that is why Duryodhana is the worst of all in the whole epic of Mahabharata. Okay, in the future, if I get a chance, I will explain all of that. But Yudhishthira and Duryodhana, they had head to head same issues and unfairness, comparisons, etc. But there is dharma, and Yudhishthira stood on the side of dharma. He stood beside Krishna under the guidance of Krishna, whereas our Duryodhana just opposed Krishna and in fact took on Krishna many times, and he wanted to even challenge Krishna for whatever it was, right? And he felt Krishna was just a constant source of trouble for him. God was trying to help him many times and help him overcome the problems that he was facing. Yet Duryodhana, for no reason, just had to ignore that. He lived a life of ignorance and he lived a life of denial, complete self denial, okay? And that was it. Constantly, he was jealous, constantly bad minded, and his emotions were only wishing the worst for others in his life. Okay, that is the life he lived. Okay, there are so many examples of Duryodhana we can discuss at some point, but that is one of the things that Krishna gives as a comparison to Karna. He says both of them are, having the same troubles. Okay, but there is dharma and there is conscience, that is your mind. And no matter how much unfairness you go through, okay, no matter how many problems that you might have faced, and how many other times these problems come to you, okay, so you cannot, do wrong things. That is what he tells Karna. He says, how much such unfairness we have in our life, how many times we were disgraced, how many times we were denied, what was due to us. What is important is how you reacted at that moment. He clearly explains, okay, he tells Karna how you reacted. All we have as human beings in this life is basically how things are around us, right? How things are changing around us and how we react to that, okay? We can only control that as human beings. Literally, you can't do anything more than that. Like I said, if you believe in the Vidivada, everything around you and everything to you is happening for a reason based on your past life karmic actions or your certain pathologies in you. Okay, you are attracting that into your life. All you can do is, even though that event has happened, whether you like it or not, you can stop reacting to it and stop acting on it. Okay, that's what Sri Krishna is telling, and that is the power of the mind. Okay, the mind is like a kalpavriksha, a wish fulfilling tree. It can give you whatever you like. If you want a horror story, you will get a horror story. If you want a romantic comedy and a happy loving comedy with a family and happy life in general, you can also get that. It is up to you how you wish from the tree. If you constantly want to wish only worry, sorrow, misery, and all kinds of problems, basically depression, anxiety, etc., you'll only keep getting that because you are manifesting that. That's a self-fulfilled prophecy here. Okay, so that's what he's telling. How you reacted to that moment is extremely important. So Karna and Krishna chose the path of dharma. He is, called Jagat Guru. He is the protagonist, in my opinion, in the whole epic of Mahabharata is the Pandavas, but for me it is Krishna because he is a role model of all of them. Okay, whereas Karna on the antagonist side, he plays the exact opposite role, where he could have been the right kind of person with the noble qualities. He could have done the right kind of things, But he always played the victim card, and he sided with those people that only wished malice for him, that only wished negative things for him. Duryodhana never wished Karna for whatever he wanted. He always saw a good friend in him, but his intentions were different for Duryodhana to Karna. All right. So that is what we have to keep in mind. And Krishna basically tells, stop whining. Life is unfair for every one of us, including me. And that does not give you the license to walk a wrong path. Okay, that does not give you the license to hurt others, do the wrong things, side with adharma. Okay, whatever the life you have, whether you get the right thing or not in front of you, whether you get the nicest of the experiences or not, whether you get education or not, whether you get the right kind of gurus or not, still you have to side with dharma, what is the right thing to do. Always remember to do the right thing is what Krishna is telling Karna. Okay, exactly same life almost. If you say all kinds of nasty things happen to both of them, one chooses the path of dharma, the other chooses the path of adharma. Okay, so that is the contrast that I wanted to explain. One plays the victim card, the other plays the card of adaptability, and he adapts to the circumstance. So Krishna, the incarnation of the moon, is the adaptability, and the Jagat Guru, the greatest of the psychologists and the psychiatrists on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I will discuss that in the next future videos. Then on the other side, Karna, he plays the victim card, and is the person who is in self denial and takes the path of adharma, non adaptable, and sides to the wrong side of people, and believes the wrong people he meets in his life are his friends. Okay, so you can see the kind of contrast that is there. It's a fantastic example in the whole of Mahabharata for me, when I was reading it, and I thought it's important to share and discuss this a bit. Especially this will help you to get out of the victim mindset. Okay, whoever it might be, all of us, we will play that card many times in our life. Okay, it's an easy card to take out of anywhere, right? No accountability, no responsibility. Who doesn't like that? Okay, and always telling this is the reason I'm like this. Okay, someone did this to me, I'm like this. Very easy to do that, but stepping up your game, okay, rising to the occasion, taking responsibility, taking accountability, goes a long way in every sphere of your life. Literally, the 12 houses of astrology you have, every house of that depends on this. Okay, if you have problems with this, whatever concept I discussed today in this particular video, you will suffer on many spheres of life, not only one. Okay, so it's very important to keep this in mind when it comes to how you are supposed to approach astrology or any counseling or anything for that matter. It's the same, right? Don't play the victim card. See for what it is. High time you step up your game and accept things as they are and work with them. Okay, work with your pathologies, work with your trauma, work with the issues, work with the patterns that are there in the chart. So much so that you get ahead in life. Okay, you do what Sri Krishna did, and even though he started late in education, he became a Jagat Guru, right? You see that there is a huge difference in how Krishna and Karna played out their lives. Okay, so it's a very important concept I thought to share with that. Okay. So finally, in the end, we can go through and conclude on all this series of videos that I've done is you have to remember that for a small ant on earth, lifting a small sesame seed, for example, would be too heavy for it. Okay, it's a burden for it. It's not equipped for that. For an elephant, lifting logs of wood can be a big burden for it. Okay, we all understand that. That is what Sri Krishna is telling us in that comparison I did between Karna and Krishna, the victim mindset. All human beings, we are going through their own burdens. Okay, and empathy is of course a key tool to unlocking the trauma and the pathology and helping clients or helping yourself in the world. But there is a no nonsense approach to astrology as well. Okay, just with empathy you will not get anything done. All right, empathy is going to be soothing for that time, but in the end the truth is not going to change because you're empathetic. It might change the modality of telling. It might come across in a very small, nice, soothing tone to you. You hear a tone which is very calm and soft. You might feel, yes, this is a nice thing to do, and it might help you to, cognize that, but it will not get you anywhere. Okay, understanding the patterns and working with the right kind of things to improve on that. Okay, and stop playing the victim card, right? And really taking action, concrete actions to resolve that is going to get you somewhere, not simple words, okay, like I explained, all right? The truth will not change whether I tell that in an empathetic manner to you or if I tell that in a soft tone or if I tell that in this normal tone I'm talking to you, right? The truth is the truth, okay? Empathy is relating to the client. Empathy is telling them, please work on it and try to, build on this and such so that your life will get better. They have been going from one astrologer to another, one person to another, and everyone keeps telling them the same thing. Yet they will find the next astrologer to, you know, get another different kind of reading, but the same answer is revealed by that astrologer as well. Then this client needs to hear some things in the most appropriate manner for them, because some people would have told them in a soft, sugar coated manner, some people in a normal tone, some people in a little bit more direct tone. Okay, direct tone is not hurtful tone, it is just the truth. Okay, and the truth does not matter how you tell it. That's very important to keep in mind. Okay, and yes, believe it or not, as I told you, you can easily see such clients no matter how many people they go to and how many astrologers or gurus or spiritual seekers or therapists they go to. They are always going to feel that the therapist was not good enough. Okay, they're always going to feel they did not get the help or attention they needed. All right, very easy to see those patterns. So you watch for that and you pay attention to that. Okay. And in the end, my conclusion statement is I really want to give this message out there that please do not shoot the messenger, okay, which is the astrologer, all right? They are just doing their job, like I explained, okay? Astrology is a great tool if you know how to use it, all right? It is just like a sharp knife at your home, which is lying there, okay? You can use the knife to dice some vegetables, cook up a nice, meal or a curry that you like, and you can serve and eat that, okay? The same knife can be put in the hands of a child and he might hurt himself with that, okay? So it depends on who is wielding the knife and who is doing the cutting and what they're using for, okay? What is the intent behind it? Okay, like I said, the words of empathy or the words of truth being straightforward does not really matter. You must really understand what is the intent behind the reading. Okay, again, pointing at the example of Sri Krishna here, this last example I'll probably give in this videos is that Sri Krishna has just wrapped up the Bhagavad Gita on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Okay, full therapy session, the first recorded psychotherapy session on earth is the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, at least minimum estimate is 6,000 years ago this happened. The Kurukshetra war, it is recorded, documented. That is the first psychotherapy session was completed. Now Sri Krishna has managed to convince Arjuna to fight. Okay, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjuna goes into a deep depression. Okay, there is a dedicated chapter in the Bhagavad Gita for that called Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Okay, and that means he's lost his purpose and he's forgotten his Kshatriya Dharma. All right, basically, Arjuna does what a debilitated Mars would do on the battlefield. All right, so that is again a misdirected Mars, for example. Okay, that is the way you can say, but it is Mars in debilitation on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So finally, Krishna preps him up. He does the pep talk, he gives the Bhagavad Gita, he gives the psychotherapy session, and he convinces him, oh, no, you have to now fight. And finally, Arjuna decides he will fight. Okay. I will explain this when we go into the next few videos a little bit more. All right. So Arjuna starts the battle, they kill a few people, and all that is going well. But then one event happens, and again that is connected to Karna, where Karna and the Kauravas, they gang up on Arjuna's son, which is Abhimanyu in this case. Okay, and they kill Abhimanyu in a inhuman manner. From the behind, they kill him with swords and arrows, and also they violate the rules of the war in that process. Okay, so that is why Karna is one of the dushta chatushtas. Okay, is one of the wrong or the bad personalities in the Mahabharata, because he does some nasty things like that. All right, so now imagine, in the role of Arjuna, he has just had a severe deep chronic depression on the battlefield. Okay, Krishna has made him aware how to do things, and he's brought him out of it. He's a father. His son has just died on the battlefield. What is the sthiti that he is in? What is the situation that Arjuna is in? You can imagine that he's going to go into another deeper depression if he just hears that this event has happened, my son has died. Okay, so Sri Krishna has to communicate this to Arjuna in a way that is not going to push him into another depression. So what he does, Krishna figures this out very early, and he knows already that Abhimanyu has died. Okay, and there is circulars that time when at the war people are communicating this from the battlefield to another section of the battlefield. Okay, Arjuna is not aware of it yet, but Krishna knows this already. First of all, he's God himself. He knows the truth in advance, but someone tells him also that this has happened. At the end of the day, at the end of a war day, okay, there is what we call as a Sandhya Vandana, which means we have to go and give opulences to the sun. We have to worship the sun and pray to the sun at the end of the day. Everyone does that in the morning as well as in the end of the day. Sunrise and sunset is very important for all of us in general in India, but also for Kshatriyas it's extremely important. So Arjuna at that evening was offering prayers to the sun at the bank of a river, and Krishna notices this. Okay, so Krishna is observing Arjuna, all right, and he sees that Arjuna is taking 3 dips in the water. We have to do that process. Underwater, the sound will not communicate in a very strong manner, which means there will be some disturbance to sound. How you hear it, you will have some block to the sound, okay, because of the refractive index of water. All right, now getting into the technicalities. So underwater, he realizes that Arjuna is not able to hear me properly, and Krishna yells and shouts that Abhimanyu has died. Okay, when Arjuna was underwater. What impact this had on Arjuna is that when Arjuna came back to the surface, he sort of came to that realization that something must have happened to my son, because I heard this, I had this signal somewhere. I have a feeling that something bad has happened. Someone just shouted. He comes and asks Krishna, did you hear this? Someone shouted like this. And Krishna says, no, I know perfectly fine. I did not hear this. It is not part of the area that I am standing, right? I did not hear. But later on, Arjuna is already prepared. Okay, is already prepared to hear a bad news. Okay, because Krishna has sort of prepped him up. Right, he's prepped him up in a way that is not direct, it's an indirect way of preparing him, but he's already prepared Arjuna to the lowest of the expectations that something bad is going to happen, so you better prepare for it. So Arjuna goes back to his premises where he is residing after the battle, and there they tell him that your son has passed away now. Now it's a shock, right? It's a huge shock for Arjuna, but it's not devastating. It is not breaking him anymore because he was prepared to hear that bad news. Okay? So, what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story, many things, of course, but a few things to keep in mind is yes, you have to know the state that the client is in before you communicate something to them. That is true. But, like I told, some clients will need to hear some very strong words, very direct words, because that is the time that they have to wake up. The time is now. If they don't wake up now, they will not wake up as time ages. Okay. So that is the first point. Second thing is by setting the expectations low, by setting the bar low, you are sort of preparing them for some of the nicest things that might happen. Okay. So, for instance, let me give you a financial example. Okay. Some client comes to you and you see that they've invested $10,000 in some form of trading. I don't want to use anything because that can come across as a prediction. I don't want to do that. Some form of trading, they've invested $10,000. Let's say they bought a car. Okay. But you saw in your reading that there will be a financial loss, and you probably even know that it's a vehicle because it's very easy to see that, okay, in astrology. You know it's a vehicle, but you don't tell them because you know that they have just bought the car, a $10,000 investment. They're very passionate about it, they love their cars and so on. But you might hint once again that you will have a financial loss this year, okay? You will not tell them probably which way this loss is going, what is the medium through which the loss would happen, but you will tell them that the loss is coming. You prepared them for the lowest of the expectations. Okay. Then something happens, someone steals their car or they have a complete totaled car for whatever reason, and then the $10,000 is gone down the drain. That's a loss. Your prediction was right, but you never told them that it will be your car. So it is partially you're preparing them for what is to come, but at the same time, you're telling them, see, it's coming up. I'm setting the expectations low, right? I'm telling you that life is only going to be difficult, but that does not mean life is not going to get better. Some events happen that will make you happy in the expectations that you like, then you'll feel good. See, it's not that bad after all. That's how you will feel because the astrologer predicted bad events, or he told it's only this is the lowest bar. Okay, we say, right, this is the minimum, the lowest you will hit in your life, and you are there, and you will stay there. Let's say the astrologer told you will stay there, and suddenly your life starts to grow. Okay, the spline is increasing. Okay, the graph is going up in whatever trajectory you like. Then you will feel better because, see, I already knew that I was preparing for the worst. Now suddenly my life is getting better. I'm in a better place now. Okay, that is what Sri Krishna basically implements there on the battlefield of Kurukshetra when Abhimanyu dies and he talks to Arjuna about it. Okay. Yes, there are two things here. One is the Sthitha Prajna, which means knowing the state the other person is in and talking in correlation to that. Okay, using the right kind of words. Okay, if there are people who listen and people who can process what you're telling, they must be told in that way, and you should at least try to help them in that way first. But you know that some people, you will see the chart that they are not willing to change, they're not willing to get better with life no matter what you tell them. And for those people, you will have to set the bar low. Okay, and those are some strong words. Like I said, Like the Bali Chakravarti example I gave you, Jupiter and Venus both gang up. Okay, Trivikrama avatar, both Shukracharya and Vamana avatar, Jupiter gang up to Bali to make him aware that we are gurus, we are going to teach you a lesson here. Okay, for Bali, yes, it was painful, but he accepted that lesson with grace. He took that lesson with grace because he saw that in the long term it was going to benefit him. It was shreyas for him. Okay, so same thing here. This is a very important thing when it comes to working with people and how they perceive problems and so on. But do not say that things will always go easy for you. All right, like I said, every one of us are going through problems, but problems are not the reason that you make a certain choice to stay in that problem. Okay, or playing the victim card continuously is not going to help. Okay, again, to finally conclude on a very Jupiterian example, like the one I gave about Krishna and Arjuna, a lot of them, the situation of Paramahamsa Yogananda's teachings also is like that. Okay, Paramahamsa Yogananda, once he was actually giving a sort of a satsang where people are gathered around him, students are gathered around him, and they are discussing some important topics of spirituality. That's what under the company of good people means a satsang. Okay, so he's sitting there and he's giving the lecture and people are listening. There is firewood on the um, ground. Okay, to keep people warm, there was firewood. Suddenly, in the middle of that lecture, he takes that firewood and he beats one of his students. Okay, everyone is shocked. Paramahamsa Yogananda, he never, went out of his Sthitha Prajna. Like I said, he went out of his emotional states like that to attack someone. And, the student got that beating and he was also more shocked, traumatized, let's say, okay, in today's modern words. But he was, not aware why this happened. So then Paramahamsa Yogananda at that stage does not explain much, okay? But later on, after a few days have passed, you'll see that this student's house was burnt, or Paramahamsa Yogananda actually foresaw, could get a vision of the future, saying that in the future, this person's house is going to burn and the fire accident will happen. In that fire accident, the fire has to touch the person's body. That is the karma that he has. Okay, he'll get burnt basically. That is the accident. So I might as well burn that fuel now, burn that karma now. So he took the firewood and he beat him. The fire still touched the body of the student, right? He had that burn, but it was not like a house burning down. It was not like a entire, you know, physical burns, A grade burns, or tier 1 burns that you would have completely burnt, or even death can happen, right? When you go through burns, it was not that kind of a burn, but just a burn that was enough to equate that karma, balance that out, right? So a guru would do that. Okay, a guru is like that. Jupiter is like that. You will have to sometimes hear those things that are good for you in the long run. Okay, that which is shreyas to you is only there to avert the major calamities of your life. Okay, because we talked so much about Vamana Avatar today. Vamana Avatar is the fifth avatar. The number five is all about aversions. Okay, it's all about making your life better. As a counselor, as an astrologer, they are there to help you to make your life better. They are not there to make your life hell. Okay, they will tell certain things only so that you work with it and make your life better. Okay, at least that is my way of working. All right, and that is the expectation I have with my clients, that you come to me only when you're ready to work. Otherwise, what is the point of me doing astrology? If you want some other sugar coated words, if you want words that are going to help your ego, pump your ego up and you feel grandiose about things, okay, or if you want to only hear people give you the good predictions and not hear the wrong predictions or the negative predictions, then please don't, because there is no point in doing that kind of astrology. It's not a fair assessment of the chart. It's not fair for the astrologer, neither is it fair for the science, neither is it fair for the client, to be honest. But you will not see that because you're more concerned about the prayers which is in the present, not the shreyas which is in the long term. Okay, so if you only trust an astrologer so much, if you trust astrology so much, that you'll not be shaken when you see both the good and bad events, and you see this is coming up, I need to work on it to make you know an impact into the future, to avoid that. If you're not able to see both the good and bad in the same way, assess it in the same way, then astrology is not for you, neither is an astrologer for you. Okay, you're better off spending that money, time, and energy on someone else or some other place where you will maybe feel happy. It could be another therapist or another um, things that you like doing in the world. Okay, it's use of money in the right context. If you're not willing to work, if you're not willing to listen, if you're not willing to make the best use of astrology, and you're not willing to accept the truth as it comes to you, okay, the good, bad, and ugly sides of life as it comes to you, then astrology is going to hurt you. Okay, it will happen like it happened to my friend in the first example I shared, the main motivation for this video, where it messed her up so much that she quit doing astrology, or you quit believing in astrology, or you quit using astrology to your benefit. Instead, you feel threatened by it, or you feel threatened by the words of an astrologer. Okay, and you keep playing the denial and the victim card always. It's not useful, right? So again, it comes down to how you use the tool also. Whether the knife is used to dice up some vegetables to make a delicious meal, or it is in the hands of the small child who does not know what to do and he hurts himself. Okay, so it's up to you what you make of it. Astrology is like that tool that you can use to get benefits, or it can also hurt you. So see it from both points of view. Okay, be open to both points of view always, from the point of view of the astrologer, from the point of view of the client. Do not just say one sided things, one sided stories that are going to just, bring a taboo label to this science or taboo label to this field of work. Okay. So, with that thought, I would like to thank you for watching the videos. I wish you the best. Namaste.